Hey everybody, it's Dr. Cara, and I am here with a monthly animal wisdom forecast with my animal wisdom oracle cards. And I haven't done one of these in a very long time. So I'm really excited. I'm kind of pleased and delighted to be doing this again and pulling out the old cards. They're getting very used. They're soft around the edges, which I love. These Animal Wisdom Oracle cards are created from my conversations, my intuitive conversations with these specific animals. And I ask the same three questions. What's your spiritual gift? What's your spiritual lesson? And do you have a message that you want to share with people? And that's what the words represent on these cards. Sorry, the light is kind of funky. So the top word is the gift, the middle word is the lesson, and then the bottom phrase is the message to people. So I love to tap into the global energy for the month and pull 1 to 3 cards and just see what's coming our way, what we need to be aware of. So I've been thinking about this month of September, and the card I'm feeling first is the bottom card. So that's the giraffe. The giraffe, their gift, their spiritual gift is detachment. Their spiritual lesson is vulnerability, and the message to people is simply love us. And when with love us, that's not only loving the giraffes, but loving nature, loving all of us. The second card I'm going to pull is this one on the bottom. I really had a hard time choosing between these two when I pulled that first card. And this is my dog, Aiko, who passed, 11 years ago now. But well, I just love her to pieces. So she represents all of dog kind, and the gift is love. The dog's gift is love. The challenge is devotion, because they are so devoted that sometimes that can go a little overboard. And their message to people is to play. My dog Dazzle lately has been very, very active, very determined when I do not play enough and when I don't just be present enough, when I'm in my head too much and I've been, at the desk for too long or whatever. She's been very, very vocal, very insistent that I need to take a break and go and play with her. So I love that. The third card I'm going to pull is this one at the top. You can kind of see that it's kind of coming up like that. And I just was feeling a magnetism to that card, and that's the bear. So interesting. The bear is about cycles. They really live in the cycles of the seasons and the years and all of that. And their lesson is about suspicion. So they tend to be very suspicious. They don't want to wait and find out. They're just assuming the worst. But their message to people is to stay open, large, and free, which is such a great metaphor for what we need to do for them, is to provide that ability for bears in the wild to stay free and to stay big and to, live large like they do. They just really own the place, right? So as I pull these cards, one of the things that I think is very important is that everybody's interpretation is going to be a little bit different. And your individual reaction to the cards is the best indicator of what the deepest message is for you. So I like to look at the cards individually and then collectively. And one of the things that I noticed, I'm just going to hold them up again here, is we've got all mammals. So that's not always true. Sometimes we have a variety of animals. Sometimes we have a couple of birds or an amphibian or reptile. So we have all mammals, which is really interesting. Don't know what it means yet, but it's interesting. And to me, when I look at this collection of these 3 cards, I kind of like the cards for past, present, future, or what do I need to know, or let's fill in some information, let's get more information. The giraffe to me is such a heart-centered animal. They have the biggest hearts for the body size of any animal on the planet. And they are freaking lovely. And they have that big vision, right? Because they can see above everything. They're physically above us, above the ground. And so there's a little bit of a detachment because they're a little farther away from stuff, which is good, which is telling me that this is a time to be more neutral, to be a little bit detached, not uncaring, not distanced, but just a little bit detached, not super engaged and not attached to an outcome. The other thing about giraffes is they are very vulnerable, and there's a real dynamic dance there between the detachment and the vulnerability. So that they're both kind of challenges in a way, but they're also both advantages too. So being a little bit detached can be a challenge because you're just not quite as involved. But being vulnerable is definitely a challenge, but that can also really bring us that compassion and that connection with others. So it's a very dynamic kind of process. The dog telling us that we just need to focus on love. We've got the big hearted giraffe saying, love us. And then the dog saying, hey, my gift is love. So to me, September is really about staying open to the loving, staying in the loving within yourself, staying open hearted and loving and playful. The bear, the message that I really get from the bear for this month, for September 2023, is really about reigniting that wildness inside of you, that wild, free, um, out in nature, just being you kind of a vibe. I don't know, an energy, whatever you want to think, however you want to think of it. Um, really just staying present with what is. When we are living within the cycles of our life, we're not pining for something that's not here right now. We're very present in what is. When it's time to do this, we do this. So there's a real freedom, a letting go, a peace in that we're not thinking about what's next. We're not thinking about what happened. We're just very much right here, right now, being in this moment. And so to me, together, these three cards are really saying, wow, this might be a time to take a step back, to just kind of get a little bit detached and really re-engage with your heart, with your loving, playful nature, with the truth of who you are. And for each of us, that's going to play out a little bit differently. But that to me is the essence of what the energy is this month. So what I like to do is kind of check in the beginning and kind of get, okay, that's what's happening. This is probably going to come up a few times over the month where I need to be reminded to maybe take a step back, to remember who I am, to really engage that loving, playful, generous, true part of myself that sometimes gets lost in the shuffle of life and everything, of the busyness of the day-to-day taking care of stuff. But it's so important to bring this into everything that we do, to bring all of us into everything that we're doing. And so taking the giraffe, the dog, and the bear with us this month, just that gentle reminder, when you need a timeout, take a little break. And as I was saying, to finish that thought is, I love to come back at the end of the month and review. And then I see how the month went from a different perspective and go, oh, yeah, okay, that's where that came in. That's where I felt a little maybe confined. I didn't feel free. That's where the bear was really helpful to remind myself to be free, to be wild, to live large, to be as big as I am. Right. So what I like to do is I display these cards on my bookshelf over here as reminders. Sometimes I'll put them in different places, or I'll just take a minute in the middle of the month or the end of the month and just check back in again. I also really love my Peacock planner, which I should have brought for you. But if you like working with the energy and the wisdom of the animal on a daily basis, you could just use one of these cards or rotate between them, however you want to do it, as a point for meditation each day. What's the energy of the month? Write that down. So I have my animal wisdom planner and gratitude journal. And in the morning, I just use it to tap into what's the energy that I'm thinking about, that I'm feeling, that I want to feel, what's my intention. And then at the end of the day, I do some reflection on how did that go? What ended up coming from that intention, from that connection, from that reminder about the giraffe and the big heartedness and the dog and the love and the play and the freedom. Am I bringing that into my day in, day out? Because it's not just this big intellectual process that's not going to be helpful. It's not going to make my life better. It's when I really anchor it in my daily practice, in my daily awareness. And so that's why I love using these cards in conjunction with my animal wisdom planner, because then that's the way to anchor and tap into that on a regular basis and see how you're working with that energy, how those challenges might be coming up, where maybe spontaneously your calendar or your of events just opens you up to being more loving, more free, more wild. I don't know what you have planned in September, but maybe that's going to happen for you. So if you would like your own deck of my Animal Wisdom Oracle cards, there's a link below for that. You can order those and I will send those right out to you. And you can use those also to draw a card each day as a daily focus. Use them with the daily planner and gratitude journal. And just start to really integrate that wisdom from the animals to start to heal your life, make it each day better. That's where life lives. That's where we live. That's where life happens. It's on the daily. It's not some, far off thing. It's like right here, right now. Let's make this day the best that it can be. And the way that I love to do that is with the animals and with anchoring their wisdom and reflecting on it and keeping it top of mind. And the best way for me to do that is to pull these cards and to write it down in my daily journal and gratitude daily planner and gratitude journal. So that's what I do. Join me, see how it works for you, see if you like it. And definitely drop a note in the comments below about what resonated with you for this month's forecast and how it's going. Check back in with me later in the month and let me know how it's playing out. I would love to hear from you. Have a beautiful September. I look forward to connecting with you again soon.